Okay, so I told you why I fasted in the first episode, and now I want to talk to you about, I started to talk about how I was feeling in the second week and just this tremendous amount of energy, and how really I was thinking about what would be most healing. And what was most healing was absolutely connecting to ancestors, to the things that make Alicia who Alicia is. I'm definitely a vegetable gardener, not a gardener, but a veggie gardener at my core. That's why I bought the house that I bought. I like the seasonality of it. I like the way it connects me to my food and what I eat. And I was really starting to think about, like, how do I want to eat? How do I want to live after this fast? What's important to me? And so I was gardening. And then this is the really crazy thing. One of the times that I felt the most me, the most aligned, was in the very beginning of the pandemic. So about 2020 and 2021, 2022, I was making a ton of sourdough and I was dropping it on my neighbors' porches. I was doing a ton of baking. I felt super connected to my ancestors. When I was doing this, I felt like it was rituals. After I wrote Little Failures, I started writing a book, Little Rituals. And I actually even wrote about this, and maybe I'll drop this excerpt from that portion of this unfinished book, about how important I think baking bread is to connecting us to ancestors and rituals. And so I was just trying to really anchor myself to those rituals that make me feel like me. And so I've done a ton of sourdough in the past. I've never done my own sourdough starter. So I made a starter and I started baking a ton of bread again. And yeah, I wasn't eating. My house was being filled with incredible smelling bread, and I was dropping it on my neighbors' porches, and that felt so good to me. I was baking a ton of cookies. I have a lavender bush. Really, it's a bush at this point, but a lavender bush. I've got a rosemary bush, a huge rosemary bush that's like part tree, it feels like at this point. And I was making shortbread, rosemary sea salt shortbread cookies and lavender sea salt shortbread cookies, and dropping those to people. And that felt so good. I also started cooking a lot during that time, and you might be thinking, all right, you couldn't eat, why are you doing this? There was something about the smell, having something to do that wasn't work, that felt, I love to cook. So having something to do, nourishing other people, even though I couldn't nourish myself in that way at that time, although I was nourished, I felt like I was truly nourishing myself in an incredible way, in like the most exquisite self-care way. Not necessarily fun self-care, but like exquisite self-care. It felt really wonderful. And, one day while I was working out in the garden, I had just exhausted myself. There was this crazy thing that happened where I ordered soil from Lowe's, and I ordered a bunch of stuff from Lowe's, and there were a couple things that couldn't be delivered. It was like the hose that I ordered, as well as, I don't know, something else. And like the hose nozzle. And so I sent Philip to pick that up, and he has a wrist injury right now. And I didn't want him to have to move any of the soil with his wrist feeling the way it's been feeling. And so I sent him to Lowe's to pick up the things that couldn't be received in delivery, and they sent the soil with him. So he gets back, and I had a wheelbarrow. I didn't have to move the soil far. It was not a big deal. But then the next morning, Lowe's customer service calls me, and they're like, we accidentally sent the soil that we know you already picked up out. When they get to your house, just tell them to take it back. And unbeknownst to me, while I'm on the phone with them, they're delivering it to my neighbor's porch. So 10, 25-pound bags of soil. Mind you, I'm really not supposed to be doing any of this, but it's okay because it felt like so good. But I get an email as soon as I'm off that call, and the email is a picture of my neighbor's porch right next door with the soil right on it. And so like I called them back and I'm like, come get this. And they're like, we can't, it's a third-party distributor. I'm like, what do you mean you can't call them? So they're like, just keep it. So I had to move all of that soil over to my garden. And then I gardened all day. It was incredible. And at the end of that day, I had this revelation, because of course I'm thinking about, what am I doing different after this fast? What am I going to do different because of the gift of cancer? Because it's come here to teach me something. What am I going to do different? How am I going to do life different? Well, just this thought popped up in my head, and the thought was, the only person who needs to validate your worth is you. Because all of this, of course, is wrapped up in, I think, how much I work, the type of work I've chosen to go into. It has to do with worthiness. And I know that I need to be the one to validate my self-worth going forward. And I can't validate my self-worth through work and working myself to the bone and leading a quote unquote busy life. Like, I don't want to be a quote unquote busy person. I want to eliminate that from my vocabulary. I want to live a rich life, but I don't want to live a busy life. I'm not going to be on that treadmill, that hamster wheel. So I then made a list of all of the ways that I could validate my own self-worth and what that would look like to me. And, I don't know that I'm going to share that directly with you at the moment. Maybe I'll talk about that in a future podcast or something like that. But I know that that is a huge part of this. And, some of these things, even though I recognize they need to change takes time. And that doesn't always have to be the case. I think that's going to be the case in this situation with my work. So I am working to change some things, and maybe it will happen quickly, maybe it won't. But another revelation that I had in all of this is that I can trust the great creator. I can trust the universe. I can trust myself and my intuition. And I don't have to be on a hamster wheel. I can trust. And I think that's something I've known at different points in my life in the past, and that's something I'm having to relearn again and again and again. And maybe I'll have to relearn it again in the future, but at the moment, it is a deep knowing, a deep, deep knowing. I had these two really strange dreams while I was fasting. It was the second week of the fast. That was probably the most profound week of the fast for me, was the second week. And the just an enormous amount of baking that I was doing, the gardening that I was doing. And I had this dream about an uncle who had passed away, and I saw a cousin in a grocery store, and then this uncle who passed away, in the dream, my cousin was like, "Did you see our uncle? He's alive." And I was like, "What are you talking about? We were all at the funeral. That was years ago. Wouldn't we know if he was still alive?" And he was like, "No, he was just in a coma. They had to have us believe that he wasn't alive." And the next thing I know, that uncle comes around and gives me a hug and tells me that he loves me. And this is not an uncle I would normally dream about, somebody I love very much, but like I don't normally dream about this person. I don't know that I've ever had a dream about this person. And so I really had the sense that I was really being told I love you by my uncle. I don't know, it was a message coming through from the other side that I was being loved, but it was greater than just my uncle. It was like, it felt like a representation of that entire side of that family. And then a few days later, I had a dream that my mother's aunts, so my great aunts on my mom's side, I had a dream that I was talking to a friend and we were at this store and there was like a rack of clothes. I don't know why we were at the store. And next thing I know, those two great aunts walk around the rack and they say, we just wanted to tell you that we love you. And they gave me these hugs. And again, I had the sense that I was really being told by them. Like, it's like a dream, but like not a dream, but a dream. Like the true message from the other side that I'm being loved, I'm being held, that the family is surrounding me right now. It was very powerful. And, in the fast, we were given, Dr. Katie Deming has a mentor who is a very, I feel like shaman is almost a disrespectful, I don't even want to say shaman, but a shaman, just really true shaman who's been trained his whole life to do this work. And he holds the energetic space for her groups. And we had the option to do remote healing work with this person, meaning I don't get to talk to this person at any point, but they would work on my light body while I was doing this fast. It's not something I truly understand, but it is something I believe in. I don't think I have to always understand to believe. Although it's great to understand. And you can't do other energy work. Like you can't have anybody else working on you energetically when you work with this person. So I initially didn't work with this person because I sleep at two different houses. Philip lives next door to me and we sleep at his house part of the week and we sleep at my house the other part of the week. And part of how you work with the shaman is you fill a bowl of water and it goes under your bed, and with hardwood all natural hardwood charcoal. And then you have to change that each week. And so I thought, this is going to be weird for the shaman if I'm moving around part of the week, this week and this week. How am I going to communicate this? But I listened to one of Dr. Deming's podcast episodes, and she had a client who did a prolonged fast with her. And that client's doctor, who worked at Sloan Kettering, her oncologist actually kind of became a part of the team and supported the fasting journey. And she asked him when she was diagnosed, what do your clients who are most successful with cancer, what do they do? What are some of the things that they do? And he said, I can't explain it. I can't recommend anyone, but they also work with a shaman. And I'm like, as I'm doing this fasting container, if I have the opportunity to work with a shaman, why not? It's also energy work. Let's let them have at my light body, right? Let's tackle this from every possible angle, right? So I decided, I asked about what do I do about the two sleeping in two different places, etc. And I just had to set it up in both places. It was fine. And so I did work with that shaman during that time. And, that was the first week. Those dreams happened in that first week that I was working with the shaman. And there were other dreams too, but those were the most poignant dreams, healing dreams. And just to know that you have the support and love of your ancestors and people who have passed, it felt really incredible. And it was incredible. So that after week 2, things got a little tricky, and I was still fasting great. Like I was doing great, but the end of the second week, so around day 14, I woke up, and so I had probably what was a detox symptom. I had a pain in my sternum, but it was on the left side, so I was a little worried about my heart. It's the middle of the night when detox symptoms typically show up. It's normally at night when you're lying down, you're trying to sleep, it keeps you up. But this wasn't a detox symptom that I had heard other people talk about in the fast, so it was like a little weird. And I was worried, like, oh my God, is this my heart? But I was just having this like pressure, this pain in the sternum, more on the left side. And it really wigged me out. It really freaked me out. And so at first, when I told Dr. Deming what was going on, you know, she was great. She wants you to listen to your intuition. She wants you to decide when it's done. I'd probably been in autophagy for, you know, at least a week at that point, which I felt like was really good. But I felt like I could keep going. So I'm like, I'm going to keep going. If you think it's a detox symptom, if all my labs and everything's good, let's just keep going. I wanted to make it like 21 days. But there was something on day 17, I just woke up and I felt complete. So 17 days, no eating, just drinking 92 ounces to 100 ounces of water a day. I don't know how to explain it. My body could have absolutely kept going, and maybe from an autophagy standpoint, maybe I should have. I don't know. We'll see. It kind of doesn't matter to me. I got so much mentally, physically, emotionally out of the fast. I will tell you, I like with the past disordered eating, it was mild when I was younger. It was there, but mild. And I did wonder if I would have any, like, if this would trigger anything like that. I will say it definitely didn't. If nothing else, it healed those feelings that I had around the disordered eating. You know, animals, if something happens, they want to fast to make themselves well. We're animals. And part of me wonders if there were things happening in my life where I was trying to make myself well through a more restricted diet, or pausing the food consumption, and it just got a little out of hand because there was a control factor there. And there was just something about this that, like, I felt like I was listening very deeply to what my body needed, what my intuition was telling me to do. And when I felt done on day 17, even though I knew I could have kept going, I knew what I didn't want to. The way I've always done life is to muscle through everything, to push hard, to work harder than anybody else, to keep going even when it was hard, to do the hard thing. And I felt complete. I didn't need to keep pushing through the hard. I had nothing to prove to anyone. I felt good. And just saying, like, I was done with the fasting portion, it felt so empowering, and it felt so gentle, and it felt so loving to my body. It was really healing to just say, okay, I got what I needed to get out of this, and now it's time to start the refeeding process. But what I will tell you is the fasting was honestly a cakewalk, especially compared to the refeeding process. So for me, the refeeding process, it required moderation. So you have to follow, right? Your body's in a fasted state. You need to stay in a fasted state, sort of like gently come out of that. So I did a 5-day refeeding, and it just felt excruciating. I mean, you want to eat a whole lot, but you can't. You're hungry. But I don't even know that it was that I was hungry. I wanted food. Like, psychologically, I wanted food. And I wanted to, like, eat like I had been eating before. I wanted to feel like a good kind of full. And there was no good kind of full on this. And honestly, I was going into my period during that time. So it's like, I also was having like all of those normal weird period symptoms that I have. And this is total TMI for those of you that, I don't know, it's interesting stuff though, because those normal cravings that I would get during that time were coming up along with what was happening during the refeeding process. So if I could have timed the refeeding a little bit differently, I think I should have. Maybe I should have like kept going with the fast just for that. But it made the refeeding for me just an excruciating challenge. And, you know, the day one, you can do 2 cups of this, and I'd made this all ahead of time. It's this zucchini soup that's made in a wing broth that I made. So I made the wing broth, and it's like a decadent broth. You know, it took like 4 pounds of chicken wings to make this chicken broth, and then that's the base for this delicious zucchini soup. It's really delicate. It's a blended zucchini soup. And so you eat that for like, I think a day or 2 days, something like that. And then the next day you can bring in your blended vegetable soups. So there was like a carrot ginger that I'd made. Again, all of this is done with the wing broth. And so the carrot ginger, and then there's like carrot ginger fennel, really good. There was a blended broccoli soup and a blended cauliflower soup, and they were all delicious. And so you have those, you can have 2 cups. I think it is like every 3 to 4 hours, 4 times a day. And I don't know, my brain just was not computing how to do this correctly, and it was railing against the restrictions of it. So I was just having a really tough time with that. And then the third day, I think you can bring in an egg yolk, a raw egg yolk, into your soups. And then you get to do this really cool thing where you make your own yogurt, and then you make the yogurt and you put the yogurt in a cheesecloth, and you drain the whey out of the yogurt, and you save the cheese. That will last for like 6 months, but you could put a spoonful of the whey protein that you've made into your soup. And so you're on that for a number of days. And so finally on the last day, you can have a chicken soup and add like an ounce of chicken and bring that in. And then Dr. Deming has a food guide to help steer clear of foods that will feed cancer. And I'll be honest, I haven't stuck strictly to that because I just needed to get, I don't even know quite the right word, but I had to like find my equilibrium with food again. And so I have eaten some like white flour and some sugar and things like that, but I'm going back. So I've done that for a few days just to like find my natural feeling of self again. It's a weird thing to express, but I will be going back more to like the no grains and things like that. So I don't know that she would approve. I'm sure she wouldn't approve of that, but I needed to do it. I don't know how to explain it. So I'm listening to my intuition. It's what my body was asking me for, and I went there, and now I'm going back on what she has suggested. I had more energy on that fast than I have had in years. I didn't love the refeeding part of it, but I have responded well to intermittent fasting in the past, and it can be really good for people with certain types of cancer, and the kind I have. So for a month after refeeding, you are not supposed to do any type of fasting. But then after that month, I think it's suggested that you go to an intermittent fasting. So I'll probably do like an 8-hour eating window. And then once a week you do a 24-hour fast, and once a month you do a 3-day fast. And so I will probably do that just because I felt so incredibly good. And if I can feel that good naturally, why not, right? And knowing I don't need to do, some prolonged 14-day, 17-day fast in order to get those feelings, I do want to keep that up. It's important to me. And yeah, it feels really good. It feels really good. I was not mentally prepared for how hard the refeeding would be. And the little revelation that I've had about that is that moderation is hard. You know, we don't live in a society where moderation is encouraged or explored. And it's the middle road. It's the hardest way to go, right? And so that was a lot of what I was dealing with when it came to the refeeding process. I was encouraged to, even though I ended the fast earlier than like the 30 days, I was encouraged to continue to not work for the full 30 days. And there have been a few things here and there that I've had to do. But I got a wonderful coaching session with the mindset coach, Christy Miller, and she's incredible. Go follow her. She had stage 4 brain cancer, and I believe she's fully in remission. And she's just this incredible human being. And in the session that I had with her, I said, I feel like a bright-eyed puppy right now. And she said, all right, let's go with that. Name your puppy. And so I named the puppy Coffee because I love coffee. And it was the thing I've missed the most while I was fasting, I'd say. And she said, let's think about, we're crate training this puppy. What are the boundaries that need to stay in place? And there's a lot of things, like keeping Facebook off my phone, keeping my emails off of my phone, not starting my day in my office at 5 a.m. to work, starting my day at the dining room, doing my morning pages and having a cup of coffee and going for a walk and doing my meditation and then starting my work day, but not lumping all of that as work, and that's a big thing for me. And I do think that keeping the email and the Facebook off of the phone, I think it's going to be a challenge, but really keeping those things out is going to be super important to my mental health and not being pulled right back in. My nervous system feels like it got a total reset. I feel like my nervous system is brand new and I want to keep it feeling like that. That was the greatest gift of this fast, was how my nervous system now feels. I do feel like I totally hit the reset button on my body. And I couldn't ask for a greater gift. So I do have that lumpectomy scheduled for July 7th. I have the radiation seed that will go in on the 3rd. We'll see what they see when they go in there. Again, I'm not attached to the outcome because I feel like I got so much out of this fast. And, I know I have learned so much. And I feel like I do have so much more to share with you all about what this was and what I learned. I had just talked about what I won't do going forward. Today I was journaling about going forward, what do I not want to do? I don't want to go back to being a workaholic. Like I said, I don't want to put Facebook or email on my phone. I don't want to rush to get back. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not going to rush to get back to text messages or emails. I'm just going to answer slowly. We don't need to be so accessible to each other all the time. I don't want to watch any high drama shows that activate my nervous system. And I won't drink any tap water, I'll tell you that. I want to keep drinking my Echo Flask water and my water with the Analama wand. I will keep drinking my 92 ounces of water daily. I want to keep, the things that I want to keep is the slower way of life that I have embraced over the last month. I want to keep gardening and veggie gardening. I want to keep making my food. I've been cooking so much and I really love cooking and nourishing myself and knowing where my food is coming from, and it is a more expensive way to live, and I'm gonna find a way to make that possible because clearly my health needs it. I'm gonna keep out as much social media as possible. I find that very activating to my nervous system, especially with everything going on in the world right now. Yeah, I'm gonna keep writing letters. I did a lot of letter writing. I really enjoyed puzzling. I'm gonna do a lot of puzzling. I'm gonna try not to start my workday until 9 a.m. And I had a number of days that I drank water and Philip drank coffee, but we had coffee and connection first thing in the morning, and that was really nice. I did my daily meditation. I'm going to keep that up. And I did quite a bit of rebounding. You can rebound. It's a little trampoline. It's really good for your lymphatic system. I'm going to keep rebounding, and I'm going to keep the intermittent fasting, but when that's appropriate to bring that back in. And I'm gonna do more yoga for me, more yoga that's not just teaching, but yoga for me. And I'm gonna do more energy work. I'm gonna do energy work for myself and incorporate more energy work for clients into my practice. And I did a lot of work with human design and like kind of deep diving into that during this fast. And while I've looked into my human design in the past, I just got a whole new layer of insight into that, and we'll be doing that. I am certainly open to all of your questions and comments. So if you have questions for me or comments that you would like me to hear or think about, I'm here for all of it. I'm going to link to Dr. Deming's work and to her podcast. If you know of anyone that you think an experience like this would be good for, I highly recommend sharing it. If you have the financial means and the wherewithal, and if it's appropriate for your body and your mind, a fast like this is absolutely incredible. I'm pretty sure Philip's gonna do one in the future just because he saw all of the benefits and how much I learned about self and how much I learned physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally on this fast. But I think please share her work far and wide. It's really powerful. And her podcast, Born to Heal, is absolutely incredible. It is geared more towards people with cancer, but really anything you want to heal physically or energetically or emotionally. If you're on any type of healing journey, you can benefit from listening to that podcast. So give it a whirl. I hope these updates were nourishing for you, and I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much for your love, your support, for being on this journey with me. I am so grateful. So much love, and I'll talk to you soon.